Hi folks, this is a very short review of the Skechers Arch Fit Recon Harbin shoes, or sneakers, or hiking shoes, whatever you want to call them. I just wanted to give you my thoughts about them because I've been using them for a little bit of time, but I do have a lot of experience with hiking shoes, trail running shoes, and just being outdoors in general. So I wanted to give you my thoughts about how good these particular shoes are for such environments. So overall, if I were to give this a score on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would give it about a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 for most environments. Generally speaking, the biggest pro about these shoes is that they're generally good for casual types of walks in environments like these. So whether it be on dirt, which is where I'm walking on right now, over stick areas, maybe even over mud like this, they're pretty good. I mean, the grip on these is pretty good, the traction is pretty good, so even if I run around, I'll generally feel pretty good doing so. Nothing amazing, but at the same time, it's a pretty comfortable, safe feel, and being the fact that I have jogged around in some pretty good shoes in my time for hikes and trail runs and all that kind of stuff, these ones are definitely good. They're definitely worth the price. Now, other positives before I get to the cons. They're very resilient shoes. They're also water resistant and weather resistant. Very, very tough layers as well, so you're gonna have pretty good weather protection overall. Now, other pros that I find is that other than the good traction, so if I try to, this is a pretty slippery area, but there's good traction, so I'm pretty confident in running up and down or walking up and down hills on this. Another positive that I see is that I don't really know if this is Gore-Tex, but it is weatherproof, so it is resistant towards that kind of stuff. They give you decent protection. That's the basic next con that the next pro that I want to cover. They're very sturdy shoes, very long lasting, so I'm pretty sure that if you wear these, you're going to be able to wear them for a long time. So whether it be for walks like this, general walks on trails, maybe construction work, maybe just a general stroll outside, for most outdoor uses, casual, hiking, whatever the case is, these shoes are good and above, in my opinion. Now, there's one more thing I forgot to mention, and that is when you're in water, generally speaking, most hiking shoes do not perform well when it comes to stepping on wet rocks. When it comes to dirt, these shoes are great, so I can walk around freely in the water and not really worry about slipping. When it comes to slippery rocks, stepping on rocks that can have like moss on it and stuff like that, those are generally like the weakness of any hiking shoes and trail running shoes. In the case of these ones, they actually perform pretty well, better than most of the other ones that I have tried out there. Like normally, if I'd be walking around, there'd be areas where I would be slipping with other shoes. With these ones, it's actually pretty good. The grip, what's the word I'm looking for? The ability to just keep moving without slipping is pretty good with these shoes. So that's another positive that is very much worth noting, because for someone like me, I love to be in all kinds of environments when it comes to the outside world, not just trails. I like to get in the water as well. So these shoes are pretty good for that kind of stuff, something worth mentioning. Now, there are some cons that I personally feel need to be mentioned. The first one is that if you're someone like me who really enjoys trail running through the woods, and maybe not in these kinds of easy environments, but maybe rocky areas, maybe it's slippery, maybe like that, I think there's better options than this. I personally like my Salomon Speedcross shoes for such things, and these shoes may not be, you can run around in this, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like it's much safer and a much better mobile experience for me to be able to use the trail running shoes like the Salomons versus these. So I just feel more comfort and protection in that. Now, one more con that I need to point out is the shoelaces on these are extremely, extremely annoying, in my opinion. So when I run around, I obviously want this upper area to be as tightly fit against my leg as possible, because that's going to offer me the most protection. Otherwise, if I'm running around and my legs are constantly just slipping side to side, there's a risk of a sprain happening. And while you do get decent protection with this, obviously the faster you run, the more tighter the fit needs to be down there. And I find that with these shoes, at least with the shoelaces that are here, it takes a lot of strength and a lot of effort to take these shoes and tie them together to squeeze those upper areas of the shoe against your foot, so you're far more protected. And I'm a strong person, but I have found that no matter how hard I try to pull on these shoelaces to try to tie this as tightly as possible, there's still an area here where it's a little bit more open. And again, it gives you decent protection for casual walks like this, even good protection, but for runs and something a bit more explosive like rock hopping and that kind of stuff, it might be a bit more riskier, and I would depend on something like the Solomon shoes for that kind of stuff, or at the very least better shoelaces than the ones that come with these shoes. So one more con that I want to mention regarding these shoes is that while walking in water, where I just was at, they're good for that kind of stuff. What I've found is that when I get out of water, these shoes are weatherproof, but it feels like they take on the water. Not, you know, it's not like they become like a sponge or something, but I feel like my shoes get heavier after I do that. And I haven't noticed that with the other shoes that I use for trail running and hiking. That's something I'm personally not comfortable with, because as a hike gets longer and longer, you don't want your legs to get heavier. That's going to happen on its own from you getting tired. And I don't want to feel like there's extra weight being put on. It's not so much, but it's enough to feel it. So that's something that I personally feel is a bit of a con with these shoes, and something that's important and worth mentioning. So that basically summarizes everything. I've provided a link below this video. If you want to get these shoes, you can do that. There's a further review as well if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask me that, whether you're on watching this video right now or on my site. So thanks a lot for watching. Have a good one.